Hello and welcome to my fireside. If you are anything like me, you have that epic campaign in your mind. The one where the players get to decide the fate of the world. You have created an entire universe with gods, kings, guilds and monsters for your players to explore and conquer, piles and piles of nodes. And you have never actually played that campaign. Somehow you never got around to it. Maybe the time was not right, maybe you didn't find enough players, or you felt your preparation was not thorough enough yet. But there's hope, for you and me both. I found the solution for the problem from an unlikely source, and it's somehow counterintuitive. So please, consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel to help me level up. And let's get into today's topic. How to actually start playing that epic campaign instead of just thinking about it. I got the idea when watching a video from Healthy Gamer about satisfaction, or the lack thereof, from anything you do really. And he analyzed and put into words something which I already partially knew. Anyway, this is not a mental health channel, but when thinking about the concept, it occurred to me that it would apply to GMing as well. Now, your epic campaign about dragon slaying and defeating the dark gods of chaos, why did you never start playing it? Did you feel you had not done enough world building yet, and felt incomplete and not ready yet? Or did you not find the players you needed? Not enough players, or not players that had time consistently enough to have any hope of finishing the epic campaign? Or maybe you were even still looking for the perfect rule system, maybe even writing it yourself, so it perfectly fits your world and playstyle. Whatever the reason, it all led to the same outcome. You never actually got around to play that epic campaign, and all your notes, all the work you put into preparing for the game, went to collect dust. And now contrast that to the epic campaign you actually played. There was something most of them had in common, at least in my experience. They were never planned as an epic campaign. Instead, they somehow grew from some random one-shot, maybe from an adventure we played over 2 or 3 sessions. Everyone had great fun, loved their characters, found something else they wanted to accomplish after their first adventure was through, so the GM went on to prepare a second adventure, and then a third, a fourth, and so on. And eventually, we went to defeat the Dark Lord, slay the dragon, and save the world from total destruction. How did this happen? How did these minimum effort one-shots end up becoming an epic campaign, while our magnum opus we spent too many hours preparing for ended up collecting dust? You might guess the answer at this point. Our epic campaign failed because of our own ambition. Think about it. When you have this epic campaign idea and start preparing for the game, you always compare what you have against the ideal picture of the campaign you have in your head. You might even have an epic finale in mind. Now you need to find a way to make sure that the campaign comes to that finale. Or the ideal in your head continues to grow as you prepare and build the world around it, like you're climbing a mountain, but the summit always stays just out of reach. With that lofty ambition, with that ideal game and epic campaign in our minds, it's no wonder that the actual games and opportunity for games never live up to our imagination. And that is frustrating, demotivating. Even if we start the campaign, we might end up scrapping it because it didn't live up to our expectations. It never became as much fun as we hoped for. The players never got to experience the epic moments we had prepared. Now contrast that with the minimum effort one-shot you had so much fun with that it became a campaign. You went into it with minimal effort and preparation, but also with minimal expectations. Which means it was easy for that game to surpass your expectations. And that felt awesome. Time just ran by, everyone had fun, and your players told you how epic it was at the end and begged you for more adventure. What a great success. Now, there are 4 reasons why that game was so fun. First, you went into it with minimal expectations. When you do anything, you always end up comparing the result with your own expectation of the result. For example, when you're cooking. If you just make a cheese sandwich from 2 slices of bread, cheese and some butter, you don't expect a culinary revelation at the end. If it tastes decent and is filling, that will be enough to satisfy your expectations. If you are really hungry and it tastes better than expected, that will be a very positive experience for you. But if you cook the most expensive Kobe beef you could buy, you expect it to be the best meal you ever had. You will be dissatisfied if it just turns out to be tasty, but not mind-blowing. Objectively, the Kobe beef will still taste better than the cheese sandwich, but you will get less satisfaction from it because it did not live up to your expectations. Secondly, because of the lower expectations to one-shot, the barrier to play one is much lower as well. It's just much less preparation and commitment for both you and your players. It's easier to find time and players and motivate them for a one-shot. That means you end up playing way more one-shots, giving you and your players more opportunities to fall in love with the game and continue to expand it. You can play a one-shot even with just 1 or 2 players, or you might have the idea that you need 4 to 6 players for a campaign. But if the players like the one-shot and the follow-up adventures, they will tell their friends about it, and you have a chance of picking up additional players in time. Third, if you have that epic campaign finale in mind, you tend to start slowly, planning to build up tension and epicness over the course of the campaign. But that means that the first adventures of your campaign are in danger of being less epic than they could be, since you're holding your best ideas back for later. You're in real danger of killing the campaign with boring adventures because you're holding back. You also might feel compelled to railroad your players, so the campaign goes into the direction you envisioned, which can be frustrating for your players. Fourth, since one-shot is such a low commitment, both you and your players are open to try new stuff. New systems, new settings, new styles of play, giving you all the opportunity to find something new to fall in love with. So, what is the takeaway from all that? Should we just stop wanting to play epic campaigns and just play dozens of one-shots until some of it sticks? Yes. Yes and no. My main takeaway is that we have to lower our expectations to give us the opportunity to actually start the campaign and to enjoy the games we are playing. But we can keep the idea of the epic campaign in the back of our mind. Play the one-shots with the rule systems that we might want to use for a campaign instead of systems that we only like for one-shots. Set the one-shots in the setting of your grand campaign. You don't need to have worked out the entire setting for that, just enough to run the current adventure. You can always expand on the setting as need be. Watch my video on tree world building if you want to know more about building the campaign world as you play. And that's it. That's my grand idea about playing more epic campaigns by lowering our expectations and thinking small. At least that's the end of my script. I will continue to just ramble on about the topic for a bit. Stay with me if you're interested, and safe travels and many epic campaigns to you if that is not your thing. The video from Healthy Gamer GG was really about not setting yourself lofty goals, but instead small goals that you have the opportunity to actually achieve. Or maybe no goals at all, just do stuff. That is something that I myself have experienced, but in the context of forming good habits. If you want to form a good habit, you have to start with the smallest possible version of that habit. For example, if you want to be more athletic, if you want to train more, don't set your goals too high right in the start. Don't tell yourself, I will train hard every day, I will go to the gym for an hour every day. That's not going to work. After your first or second gym session, you will be so sore that it will be really hard to get motivated on the third day or the fourth day, and then you will just quit. If instead your first goal is to just put on your training cloth 2 times a day, that is remarkably easy to achieve. Then if you just start training, do 1 exercise on 2 days a week, that is still easy to achieve. You might actually feel sore from that, but there's enough time to recover between your exercise sessions. And as you get used to this routine, you can put in more exercise, more days, longer exercise. And all of these steps in and of themselves are really small and easy to achieve. Or it's just 5% more exercise, just 1 exercise more, just 1 day of exercise more. And for each of these successful steps, you will feel good about yourself. And before you know it, you will have become athletic. It might take a few years, actually. But each step on this journey is pretty easy. And then you will be athletic. You might be training 3, 4, 5, even 6 times a day. And just feel good about it. Many fitness YouTube channels will tell you that you need to set goals for yourself. Like, I want to be at that contest, at that bodybuilding contest or whatever, and place. Maybe I want to do 100 push-ups, or whatever goals a fitness guy sets for themselves. But I think, especially for a thing like fitness, that is detrimental. Because the fitness doesn't end, or it shouldn't end, after you've actually achieved your goal. That's really additionally to setting yourself up for failure, because your goal might be just too lofty, just too far out of reach. No, when you've reached that goal, you have to continue training, just to stay fit, stay in shape, or all of that training effort, all of those muscles will deteriorate in time and you will become an unfit slob again. No, I think fitness is something more like maintenance for your body. It's something that you have to do regularly, very regularly, actually. It's something you should keep in the back of your mind. You should get yourself a standing desk, for example. Walk more, eat more healthy, and just keep doing it. It's like brushing your teeth. That's why I wanted to form a habit, so I don't even have to think about training. There is no choice for me to make. If I train today or if I don't train today, I just train every day at the same time and be done with it. But this idea of taking the smallest possible step to form a habit can also be used in general. What's the smallest possible step to actually play that campaign? That would be to write down a single line of what you find cool just start an empty page and write some campaign ideas down. It's easy enough to do. Playing that one shot that might lead to the campaign is actually one of the harder steps, but still easy enough to do. You have to break these lofty goals down into actually manageable and achievable steps. I mean, that's how in the end you climb a mountain. You start with the first step, then take the second step, and so on. Sometimes it's not that easy to figure this first step out. What I had not thought about before I saw Healthy Jamer's video was that you get satisfaction from reaching your goals. So if you have smaller goals, it's easier for you to get this feeling of satisfaction that will keep you going. It's like a self-reinforcing cycle. So by lowering your expectations and only setting yourself small goals, you're actually setting yourself up for success. And this is not a new idea. This is not a new revelation by humanity standards. And that is something that Buddha figured out thousands of years ago. When was Buddhism founded, by the way? Let's see. So the original Buddha, according to Wikipedia, lived over 500 years before Christ. I've heard the theory before that during those 20 years between the childhood stories of Jesus and then the adult stories of Jesus, he went on a journey to India and actually learned Buddhism and got many ideas for his own philosophy from them, which kind of makes sense in my mind. There are many similar ideas of aiming small, not wanting, of forsaking your earthly ambitions, as it were, and focus on your spirituality. I personally think that both Christians and Buddhists can take that to extreme. I like this idea of thinking small and having achievable goals so that you can achieve those goals and then be motivated to achieve the next goal and go on to do the stuff you always wanted to do, gain massive satisfaction from that, and just generally do more stuff, achieve more, become a better person, and in turn better the world around you through your efforts. And if all of your efforts are just internally, just praying, just meditating, then the world around you won't become better from it. And in like my philosophy, that is something unique to us humans, something that only we can do. We can think and plan about the world and then take steps, take actions to make the world around us a better place. And since we seem to be the only living thing capable of that, I believe that we should be doing that. We should put in some effort, we should put in some work every day to better ourselves, better our lives, work and better the world around us and the life of the people around us. And you don't have to start with a lofty goal again, like saving the world or stopping world hunger. That again would be setting yourself up for failure, or you might even become totally twisted and get a stupid idea that like no one can suffer if no one is alive, like a stupid Bond villain. And if you look at all the suffering in the entire world and try to take that on, that is an impossible task. You are setting yourself up for failure big time. And then you might think it's hopeless. You might despair about all that suffering you're seeing that you can nothing do about. But you're overseeing that there is probably some small thing in your vicinity, in your house, in your family, in your neighborhood, that you can do something about, even if it's just a very small thing, like cleaning the toilet, repairing that stuck door. Generally, cleaning up, tidying up, repairing, fixing, maintaining, cooking, talking to people. Generally, if you just have that attitude to better the world around you and thought in your mind that you should be nice to people and try to help them, even if it's just a small thing, and especially if it's a small thing, I think that's very positive. That's a very good habit to have. And once again, since these are goals that you're setting yourself, like, I want to tidy up the bathroom. Don't start with the whole house. That's already a lot of work. Just maybe start with one room. Maybe just one corner in a room if you are really messy. Set yourself the goal of talking to one stranger on the street, or being nice to your neighbor, calling your mother. It's Christmas. And then you will be able to reach these goals and gain satisfaction from it. So you are motivated to seek out another goal and continue with this activity. And in that way you can be a continuously good force in the world. And probably your impact won't be massive, because most humans just don't have that much power and influence on the world. Some do, but even that is very limited if you think about it. But if just enough of humans, of us, 80 billion people on this here blue planet, keep that mindset of bettering the world around us. For example, not littering, not throwing out your trash, and especially cigarette stumps. Man, those don't decay in the environment. They are made from plastic. And if you're just throwing them out somewhere in a public park in the woods next to a beautiful lake that you would like to use for swimming, they just accumulate over time until you can't see the lawn anymore because there are so many cigarette butts. It's a little pet peeve of mine. Now, if instead you think about your overarching mission to better yourself and better the world, even in small steps, then you will probably quit smoking, but at least you will not throw that just into nature. Instead, you might even pick a few of them up and throw them in the bin. But if everyone just has this attitude, then that can be really powerful, because it's multiplied by 8 billion people working to better themselves and working to better the world around them. And 8 billion humans, that's powerful. Man, that's unbelievably powerful. There might be no limit, or just the limit of physics, for human achievement, for humanity in general. And I think I want to end on that positive note. I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year 2025. I wish thee safe travels, dreamers, until we shall meet again.